Welcome to the Spa Girls podcast, a self-publishing podcast for authors. You're in the right place for the best writing, marketing, and publishing advice, plus interviews with industry experts and best-selling authors. I'm Cheryl Phipps.
I'm Shar Barrett.
I'm Wendy Vella.
And I'm Trudi Jane.
And Happy New Year!
Happy New Year, everybody.
New Year.
A new page.
2023, here you are. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this year is going to be awesome, and we're going to start off on the right foot by doing some planning. And we've got this themed episode we're very excited about today.
A lot of work has been gone into this theme. Can I just point that out? Not by myself or Wendy.
No.
I mean, it was Cheryl's idea, her genius idea. So none of us can take credit for that. But it's New Year, New You, done in the style of a rom-com. Da, da, da.
Da, da.
So the rom-com bit was Cheryl's idea, which I loved. So I did it. So there's a guy called Billy Mernit. He wrote a book, and it's apparently the ultimate book on writing a rom-com, and it's called Writing the Romantic Comedy, strangely enough. And weirdly. And so we're going to use the beats that he suggests, the 7 beats that are in his book for how to write a romantic comedy, and we're going to use those to help us plan for 2023. So you're going to get to learn how to write a rom-com and also plan for your year at the same time.
Hey, what can I say? Star Girls, mate. Would you get that anywhere else?
Nowhere else.
I'm just saying,
nowhere else. Do you get it with fries?
No.
From
Well, I mean, I can possibly post fries out if anyone wants some. It might be gross by the time you get them.
Talk about upsizing,
The value of that, like the humour value of someone, like if I post you the fries wherever you are, you have to open them on camera and like show how gross and mouldy they are, and then I will happily do it. Like I will post fries.
No, that's I think we take a vote on that one, and I think it's pretty clear that that's a three against one.
Okay, no fries. So, I'm sorry. I tried, you guys. I tried.
So you will get no fries with this, okay? But what you will do,
unless you make them yourself.
All
right, okay.
I think we should add a disclaimer to the website or something.
There will be no fries with that.
There will never be any fries ever.
But we are happy to ship Trudi over. So
yes.
Yeah, that could work.
I love that. A little bit of a holiday. As long as it's a first class shipping on the front of the car. Plane.
It'll be on the front of the plane, all right.
inside the plane.
Come on, we all know that I'm standing on top of it like they used to in the old days on the wing. She would, right?
Yeah, she would. Yeah.
If anyone was going to do
it.
Stop
right now.
Stop right now. We're silly already.
It's a silly season. We've just finished the silly season. Okay, so beat number 1 is called the chemical equation, or the setup. And so that, think of your favourite rom-com, Notting Hill, and it's not my favorite rom-com at all. It's just the first one that comes to mind. And that's all about, where does it start? What's it like? What's the ordinary world kind of thing? And there's a setup and there's a thing. So for us, for our planning, it's how do you want your year to look? What makes you happy? What are your big goals? What's the setup of your writing career for this year? How are you going to grow? So it's just those basic intro questions that you need to ask yourself about, so that you know when you're doing your planning, what you're planning for, right? So
yeah, 100%.
So some examples of what we could be, I'm going to earn 50,000 this year, or I'm going to start writing in a new genre, or I'm going to start doing TikToks or something like that. I mean,
I'm going to write 6 books, and I'm going to write every day, or I'm going to write 3 days a week, and those days I'm going to do 2,000 words a day or 1,000 words a day. So set those goals and set the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So has anyone got any other goals, any specifics that they know that they're going to do in this year?
I liked all those ones. They were good.
Yeah. I was just going to say that maybe making a decision, like I could do this and I could do that, like to write it down is a big step.
Yes.
A big step. And I think that's the only way you can actually move forward, is to see it, and then you can visualize it properly, like expand on it. And then that's how you just start, because you know where you're going. Yeah. Or you know what you're starting with.
Yeah,
I think simplifying things is my goal this year.
That down.
I'm not quite as needing to simplify as you, Trudi, but I need to.
Did anyone understand? I understood what she said, but I don't think it was actually a full sentence. But,
No, okay. So anyway, I want to simplify, because I do try to keep things simple, but I have so much to do and I stress if I don't get it done. And, you know, I open my eyes, get my laptop, start doing my TikToks, you know, like I want to be able to have downtime and not be angry with myself for downtime, I guess is where I'm going with
Nice.
it. Yeah.
That's a good one.
That's good.
That's
That's
an
taking the
important one.
pressure off, not just simplification, but taking the pressure off yourself.
Yeah.
And kind of
That's
knowing
really
that you can
important.
still earn money without having to be working every hour of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too much work, not enough
Mine,
play.
yeah. Mine is, I had written down clarity, focus, and leveling up were my three things. And also simplification was, because, you know, we've got to have lots of things. Cutting through the bull leap to the essence and getting the job done. And yeah, so I thought that was quite cool.
Nice. All right.
Okay.
What about you, Shea Bear? Have you got anything?
Just prioritizing, I think.
Yeah.
I you know, I like to think that I'm very organized. It's not quite
And
the same
you
thing.
are.
Yeah,
out
but
of
it's
all
not
of
quite
us.
the same thing, because you can be organized and yet not quite get the priorities right. So
Yeah.
there's my goal for
That's
this year.
true.
Yeah,
That's very
that's
true.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
That
going
you
with
shall.
that one. I like that one. I'll borrow that.
Okay, awesome. So the next beat is the meet cute. This is always the best bit in a rom-com, I'm just saying. So it's the catalyst. It's the thing that's going to get you going. And so for our purposes, it's what are the one or two big things that you're going to do that will be the catalyst to the changes that you want to make this year in your writing career. So if you were going to earn more money, maybe it's setting up ads. And if you're going to write in a new genre, maybe it's reading books in that new genre. And if you're going to start doing TikTok, maybe it's doing a course in TikTok. You know, those kinds of things. Like, what's the thing that's going to, so if you're going to be prioritizing, what are you going to do? If you're going to be simplifying, what are you going to, you know, how are you going to get started on those things? So do we have some answers for that?
I have an answer to this one, and it's something that's come through really clearly. And towards the end of 2022, we had a number of, well, we always have successful authors on, but it's the theme was people were reading in the genre that they were writing, which standard advice, but it was the newer books in the genre that, you know, were being published, not necessarily the, you know, fan favorites from 20 years ago. And I've noticed with my own reading that I'm rereading things and I'm not keeping up with the newer books published out in my preferred genre, which is paranormal romance. So that's my meat cute. I want to, or cute meat, or you know, meat in the sandwich. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
is
awesome.
update or get with the program in terms of my reading, and not as a punishment, but as a joy.
Well, it's also research, isn't it? So I think you can read for two different reasons. You can read purely for the love of it, or you can read for research, but that doesn't necessarily exclude loving it, right? So because you're reading in a genre that you love anyway. So
that's true. Yeah. And I also think that for a lot of us, the last, you know, few years, without going, you know, in the after times, as we call them, for me, a lot of it is rewatching programs, like rewatching Friends, rewatching, you know, Big Bang Theory, rereading books, because you kind of know there's less brain power needed in it. There's less an emotional kind of energy needed because you know it. And I think you have to work a little bit harder with new things, and I'm ready to work harder with new things.
Because there's this comfort in watching something where you know how it ends. And knowing that there's not going to be any unpleasant or uncomfortable surprises. Like, I was watching something new last night on Netflix, and I was like, I was almost tensed. Like, and I was fast forwarding ahead just to check and make sure that, you know how you can put the thing on the bottom just to make sure there was nothing that was going to be too,
anything that
it was Jack Ryan, and I know that, you know, those kind of thrillery things, and they're all kind of, but you know, people die and people, they set you up and make you like people, and then they kill them off and stuff like that. And I was a little bit like, oh, I like this person, so I was just making sure they didn't die, which they did. So, you know,
have you ever watched Game of Thrones then?
No.
Never watched
episodes.
Never gonna.
No.
Anyway,
no.
So this is why I like rom-coms. So okay, just to complete this aside over for nothing, what's everyone's favorite meet cute in a rom-com ever? Like, I carried a watermelon, people. How good is that one? When she first meets Johnny in Dirty Dancing, when she goes up to the dancing area, and then she goes to Johnny, I carried a watermelon, and then she's like, I carried a watermelon. Like,
yeah, that's a good one.
That's hilarious. I love that.
That's a very good one.
I like
you put me on the
Jones's Diary. I can't beat that one.
What was that one?
Anything with Colin Firth and a Christmas sweater is a good.
Is that how they first met?
I can't remember. I just remember it was sort of, Yeah, no, he was the neighbour, wasn't he, or
Were
somebody?
they in their
Son of
Christmas sweaters at a Christmas party?
at the Christmas
Yeah,
party.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
hated each
that was
other
a
on
good one.
site. That's right.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I
awesome.
can't think of any other ones at
No.
all there, Trudel. Sorry.
Yeah, you got any? No. Okay, don't worry. I'm
Moving
trying to
on.
remember. Moving
Next
on.
beat.
Okay, so beat 3 is the sexy complication.
Oh, okay.
And so that's the turning point. So this is where what are the distractions or complications that you can see that you might come across in the execution of these goals and ideas?
Mhm.
What can you do to mitigate that? So this is kind of future casting, like where you might fall down. So if you want to simplify, what are the things, or the thing where are you going to want to complicate things or do more, or
Well, I think life, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I just want to say, grandchildren,
Yeah.
children,
but
illness,
that's what
parents.
that's what you want to add in, though, Wendy. If you're making life simpler.
No, but what I'm saying is I can have the best laid plans, right?
Yes,
I can
yes.
I'm going to get up at 6 and write for 2 hours, and then I'm going to have a break and sit and have a coffee, and then I'm going to write for 2 more, and then the phone goes.
Yeah.
But then my word count for that day is out the windows. That means the next day it doubles because I've got a weekly goal. And
what if you don't answer the phone for those 2 hours? Is that not
I'm sorry, your mother's in hospital. I have to
Yeah.
answer those ones, that's just,
you have to, or the grandkids.
but also family's priority over everything. I mean, work is important, but family is the boss dog, in my life. But so what I have to do is I have to keep myself on my best game that I can. So that is get enough sleep, get enough exercise. I have to eat well. I have to keep my brain sharp, and I keep myself happy, and then I can fit it all in. And then when those eventualities, what are they called? Whatever, pop up, catastrophes, life pops up, I'm like, okay, swivel, adjust, pivot.
I also think there's a bit of mindset in there, because part of what you said before was that you get annoyed with yourself for not finishing or doing the things that you said you would. And I feel like maybe part of it is also just cutting yourself some slack and saying, it's okay if you don't get to do every single little thing. And maybe it's a little bit of Cher's prioritization, like saying, these are the most important things. And if I don't get these other things because of family and other stuff, that's okay, and I'm not going to beat myself up over
I don't cut myself slack.
Yeah, well, maybe we need to practice that, Wendy. I'm just saying.
That's part of self-care.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Anyway, so that's
what
cool.
about you,
That's
Cher?
awesome.
What are you going to do what's your complication?
How are you going to prioritize?
Yeah, I think it has to be getting things to the right level, for instance, I've opened up a shop and I just opened it up and I didn't really do much to it. And things happened and I wanted to join my website with it, and there was a lot of learning to do. And I had decided that I was going to put 4 books out, and actually the shop just went on hold so I could get my 4 books done, which I did.
Way to go.
So, trade-off. And not beating myself up. I'm disappointed. I'm still disappointed. Even today, I'm still disappointed. But it's not the end of the world. I can come back bigger and stronger. So,
we can rebuild it.
It'll happen.
And also the lessons that you learned in it, the learning doesn't go away. Like you've done that. You're ahead of the curve now from where you were before.
And the books were their priority. So you were kind of already prioritizing.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? In the moment, you have to decide, I have to let something go to make this other stuff happen.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know what about you, Cher, but for me, I remember I just did my planning, a couple of weeks ago, and for this year, and versus my planning for last year. This year, I was a lot clearer, and I looked back on what I was thinking that I could do last year. And I just thought I could do everything. You know what I mean? And this year's plans feel like they're just a little bit more reasonable. And it's not because I'm lowering my standards or anything like that. It's just, I'm kind of just a bit more aware of what I can do, and not putting, my problem was always putting too much on myself. I wanted to do everything right away. And then you don't end up doing anything.
So that's exactly what happened.
So true.
And I think the fault lies in actually not breaking it down further into actionable things, because until you do something once, you don't know how long it takes.
Yeah, so
You
true.
have no idea, no concept of it. So that's where you need to cut yourself some slack, really, is if
Yeah.
you don't know, you don't know what you don't know. So
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
now
exactly.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true.
Yeah.
100.
Good advice. Yeah.
So for my one was clarity, and that whole planning thing that I'm talking about just from before is I did that with a coach, and she was just like, wow, that took like a quarter of an hour compared to like 3 hours from last year. Like I am so much more clear and focused in terms of what I'm doing, and I kind of have this much stronger idea. And I just think it's just that I'm a little bit more focused, but I know myself a bit better. I've watched myself over this last year, and I kind of know what I'm capable of and what I can do, and I'm not going to overload myself. I'm not going to stress over trying to do everything in January when I know that I'm going to go on holiday with my family. Like there's just
Yeah.
Exactly.
knowing that these are things that are going to happen. Yeah. So stuff like that. I think
Be
that's
kind to yourself.
yeah, exactly.
I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah. And so lack of time is one I wrote down too also. So and also my brain confusing me and sending me into chaos and confusion. And chaos and confusion is my big one. So trying to stay clear and focused versus chaos and confusion. And it's just like, if I feel it happening, it's just stop, take a breath, and kind of get clear again, So
That's I think it's very, very important, because I don't think there's an author alive that hasn't felt that, and probably will feel it in the future, but it's knowing when to cut it off at the knees.
To recognize
you do feel the panic well up when things get away from you too. And for me, when I get something done, I'm like, okay, I've got a gap now. I must jam something into that gap.
Really?
Yeah. Like So like I jammed another book in this year, and I could have had a massive big break, but I jammed it in there because I was sitting there. I actually physically can't just sit there.
No.
Oh my gosh, panic,
I think that's training. I think you have to train yourself to actually enjoy the downtime.
Isn't it funny?
Yeah.
So anyway. So that's number 3. Number 4 is the hook or the midpoint. So this is about in a movie, it's the hook, it's the often it's a black moment or something big happens. It's the point of no return, that kind of thing. But for us in our planning, it is, what is your why? What will keep you going? What will hook you into your chosen path for this year? So what is the reason that you're doing this? What is the reason that, when it gets hard and when you feel like you're procrastinating, or that you've got too much on and you can't, or something happens and it derails you, and you or you've devolved into chaos, or whatever it is, what's going to keep you going? So we all know that, right? We've all talked about, your why. We've done all this stuff.
I think like you said before, it's knowing yourself. And you can trick yourself into all kinds of things. What's in your head, that whole mindset, you can talk yourself out of stuff in the blink of an eye if you really don't want to do it. And even if you do want to do it, finding reasons, putting barriers up to not do it. It's absolutely crazy, and we all do it.
Yeah, we all do. I think that's the key, is recognize that everybody is very similar in that. It's not you alone that if you're thinking like that. And we've mentioned you before, but Mel Robbins talks about something like, and I don't know what the exact is, so I'm completely screwing up the facts here, but the general gist is that you have an idea or have a thought. It might be, okay, I'm going to go for a walk, and then the brain kicks in and doesn't want you to do it. Like, it's like it gives you or you should be doing another 50,000 words writing, or something like
Write
that.
another book,
got 30 seconds between,
casually.
and I'm pretty sure it's either 5. It's some infinitesimal amount of time, and everybody does it. It's just it happens to everybody. So, and that's why she invented the 5-second rule. So, like I say, I'm going to put the link into it.
I think we have more self-doubt as writers than a lot of people.
Yeah,
and that is an observation over time, talking to other writers, and even talking to my husband, and I mean, men are different beasts completely, but I can be sitting there thinking about something, and I'll say da 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 da, and he's like, what? Where did that come from? Or I'll be laying in bed and we'll just be chatting, and then he said, look, I can hear your brain just going ding, 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 ping, 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 and he's like, just calm down, man, and the world is not going to end, and I think having someone in your life who can talk you down is a great thing too. Like even if, like with each other, we do it with each other. But yeah, and the mind is crazy. Mine is insane. You know, I have the facade of being quite normal. It's just not the reality. You know.
I think people now have realised we need it.
Yeah,
none
you
of us
know,
are.
like
Yeah.
That's the
So,
truth of the matter.
Yeah. So, and I think whenever that happens, or when you've got your crazy moments or whatever, knowing your why keeps you going, right?
Yeah, and that's like family again, like share. It's family. It's my husband's retired. It's living the life we want. It's being comfortable. It's making sure we're set up for retirement. You know, it's all those things. But underneath it all, it's also the love of what I do.
Yeah. And
You know,
actually a little bit of gratefulness too for the fact
that we get
to do what
exactly,
we love.
dude. Yeah. But also just that, you know, I think for a while there, and when we went through COVID and I'm sorry, I said the word, but you know, like we went through all of that, I actually really lost a lot of that, a lot of me, and a lot of the reason I write. I would sit down and I'd look at the computer and I'd go, I don't want to do this today, you know, like, you know, but whereas I'm back to, this is quite good. You know?
I don't think you're alone in that.
Exactly. No. Totally not alone. Yeah.
No, it felt weird to be having.
It
does.
Yeah.
Well,
because
my
you can
hope for
just
this
have
year
bad
is
days.
to have fun. I want to have fun.
Yeah.
Girls just want to have fun, right?
Girls just want to have fun. Yeah.
But I think, you just have bad days too, right?
Yeah.
And I think, and that's that whole, for me, and I think all of us are a little bit like that. Trudi's dancing. It's making me feel quite ill because it's noisy. It's making me. But anyway, I can't remember. I've lost my train of thought because Trudi was dancing completely. Where was I going, people? Where was I going? Girls just want to have fun.
It was getting back to it and then the joy and that.
The joy, yeah. But I just, for me, it's just about actually liking what I do. That wasn't what I was going to say. It was so poignant and awesome.
I'm sure it was really important.
It was, and it'll come back. It will come back.
In about an hour, once
throw
it
in at some stage.
And then I remember when we had Lee Savino, she talked about loving your books and how important it was to love your books. And it was the first time I'd actually, I think, ever heard an author articulate that quite that way. And it really kind of hit me, and it's like, she's right.
I remember talking to Nalini Singh about it. And she said, do you reread your books? At a group we were sitting chatting, and she said, do you reread your books? And I said, yes, all of them. And I really I give them about a year before I go back to them, but I really enjoyed them. And there were a few authors at the table that said no, they didn't. And to me, it's a really important thing. If you can't like them,
who else is going to? No, that's
our
okay,
bar
let's move on.
is probably a lot higher for ourselves.
Exactly.
So what comes next, Trudi?
Okay, number 5 is beat 5 is the swivel, the second turning point. There's a swivel, people. Swivel. So for us, the swivel. So the swivel is often, I'm trying to think what that means in terms of rom-coms, but I don't really know. I think it's like, you know, another complication, something happens and keeps them apart. But in terms of what for our process, it is, what will be the marker of success for you? How will you know you're on track as you go through the year? So how will you know that you have been as productive as you have? It's not a P word called productive. It's a P word called prioritizing. That's right. Sorry, I was trying to think what your one was.
Too much Christmas.
Mine wasn't even a P word.
So what simplification? Like, how will you know that you have succeeded in those goals? Or read
it all comes down to money.
Or romance.
Or publishing when you said you would.
Are you making the money that you made the year before? Has it grown? Does that make me sound mercenary?
No, not at all. Absolutely not.
I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to want in your career.
Well, it's not just that. It's, you know, somebody's got to put the groceries on the table, and
I was going to say, love doesn't
not
do
with
it,
love and tenderness from gardening, sadly for me. But I think for those of us who, like myself, tend to overthink absolutely everything, including what brand of toilet paper to buy. The HB90 system, which I use with Sarah Cannon, but it's not. There's also a book called The 12-Week Year. It's planning it in smaller. Like in 12-week blocks, so 4 quarters, and that's a good way of your in the swivel point. You can actually in the process is that you pause at the end of that 12 weeks and you look at what you set up to do, look what you didn't do, because there's always stuff you didn't do, and how you can rejig. And it doesn't feel like so huge. It just, because it's very easy to kind of lose track of things. And I find that method works really well, and it's very popular with writers. So it's a Heart Breathings, I'm just writing this down as I talk, Heart Breathings channel on YouTube, and it's Sarah Cannon's HB90 system.
Okay.
And that partially goes a little bit back to what Cheryl was saying earlier about how not just having the bigger goals, but breaking it down into smaller things. And I think you can use that also in a similar vein to HB90, is to go, like, you know, assess every quarter, say, or even half year or something, and look back to the list of things that you had that you were going to do underneath your main, like if you're going to look after this, do something on the shop, and then you had it broken down into smaller chunks for what you're doing, just how much of that have you marked off, and is that, you know, what does success look like, and maybe know from the very beginning what success looks like don't just go get to mid-year and go, oh, successful, when you didn't actually nominate or know what that success looked like from the very beginning. Because I think that's what a lot of people do too. You get to and you forget about all the things you have done, and you go, oh, but I didn't do this other thing, and forget to be happy about, oh my god, but I did all these other you know, I did all this amazing stuff that was totally on my list. So just remember that's what that one is about, just making sure that you know and appreciate and understand that you have been working and doing stuff.
It is.
Okay.
Just going back and looking, seeing what you've done, write down what you've achieved if you feel you haven't achieved everything, and you'd surprise yourself, I think.
You could be like Shah and write it down at the end of the week.
I write it down as I go. I keep I call it Chivis, but an achievements thing. And even if it's something like I bought XYZ software, I did whatever it is, it doesn't matter how big or small, you write it down. And it's when you're having those moments where you think, oh man, I'm just spinning my wheels, I've done nothing, I haven't moved, you look at that. Highly recommend.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so beat number 6 is the dark moment, the crisis and climax.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. So this is, in the movies, we always know it's the bit where they kind of break up, or they hate each other, or there's something happens and they can never be together, and we're all like devastated because it seems so perfect.
No.
Oh my gosh. I've been well, the last, not now anymore, but before Christmas I was watching all the you know, the Christmas movies. There's some really good ones out. I mean, I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so what do you need to do each month to ensure that your goal at the end of the year will be achieved? What will you do if you're not making those monthly goals? How will you assess the execution of your goals? So it's kind of a little bit the same as what we were just talking about, but
I think it's often too, sometimes it's outside forces kick in here. It might be a new trend that you feel like you should have hopped on, but you haven't. Do you do it, or don't you do it? Or it might be, you know, hearing about another author that's had this blazing success in whatever form of advertising it is, and it's something that can pull you away from kind of your where you're going, or make you question, I think.
So what's the kind of crisis moments, I guess? Or is it
often it involves other things, or there could be things like, you know, maybe Amazon changes, or algorithm, you know, all of that kind of stuff.
Or people asking you to do things, you know. Come and do this, and you think, shiny new toy. I'm doing that, and then as soon as you do it, you think to yourself, oh, why did I do that? You know, like it derails you. You can be derailed very easily from things
very
like
easy.
that, you know. And if I'm writing in something and my writing's like feeling someone, and shiny new toy comes along, I'm just out of there.
It's easy. It's easier, isn't it?
Very
easy in some ways. Or it takes
the
pressure off. Or I don't know what it is. But at the end of the day, the truth is, if you don't do the things that you said you were going to do to get something bigger done, it doesn't happen. And you know, I mean, you just have to accept that the responsibility can only lie with you. Don't do the words if you don't you know, work out how to do something properly, like an ad or whatever. It lies with you, and you know,
everything
you have
lies
to find
with
a
you.
better way, or an easier way, or a more something that sits better with you to get it achieved.
And that's the blessing and the curse, isn't it, of self-publishing? It all lies with you.
It does.
But also, I think you've got to know yourself, know thyself a little bit there. You know, like Trudy's a goal setter. I think Shah's a goal setter. I'm not a goal setter. Cher, you're a halfway girl in between.
I think you are a
No,
goal setter,
no, what I
Wendy.
know, let me
Ah.
explain.
Go.
Go. So what I'm saying is I don't start the year and go, I want this to reach this goal, this goal, this goal, this goal.
You
This
do.
goal,
You
this
know
goal.
exactly how many books you're going to
Yeah,
write.
but that's just my job.
had
That's
the-
what I do. But what I'm
You had
saying
the
is
planning
that
session
I don't.
before any of the rest of us had our planning session.
But what I don't make
You're
them.
talking a lot of nonsense
No,
here.
I don't call them goals.
Yeah. So you trick yourself into
So goals, because
into-
if I don't achieve them, then like it's not a goal setting thing. It's planning. That's the difference. It's not goal setting, it's planning.
I think what that is possibly is
Semantic?
whatever terminology
Yes.
works for you is the way that it works
Semantic.
best.
If that tricks
And
you
that's
into
fine.
overachieving.
Absolutely fine. Absolutely fine. I would say if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck.
That's probably
might
I
be
don't
a
call
duck.
them goals. You don't have goals in your everyday job, do you? Every year?
Yeah.
You do.
Do
You have like
you?
KPIs that you have to achieve
KPIs.
each
It's a
year.
goal. It's a KPI.
KPI is a
If you
goal.
don't achieve
No,
it,
see,
What's a
different
goal in your
words,
mind?
different
This is
words.
funny.
No, it's different. Planning and goals are different.
No.
Oh, that's interesting. But hey, look, we
Whatever.
are open to all
who are
whatever
we?
works.
Who are
and
we
it-
to judge you? For goodness sake.
We're not judging you.
I'm
No,
not judging
I
you. I
mean,
just think it's funny that she doesn't think she sets goals.
I don't like the idea of setting goals.
Yeah.
that's fine.
Well,
It's a
that's
mindset.
Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
As long as the stickers involved, you can do whatever.
I'm not
And
puffy
this is not a
stickers.
general we. Stickers
world can do
and
what it
washi
No
tape
goals,
and
no puffy stickers.
No,
Colour
we
it.
don't
Okay,
play
so
those
what
games,
happens?
mate.
Okay, so that's cool. We're having an argument about whether it's a goal or a plan. But what
It's not like
if
us
you
to
do
argue.
get a dark, okay, what I want to ask is if you're in a dark moment in the year and it's like you're 3/4 of the way through the year and you're not finishing the book that you know that you need to have finished by a certain date, or if Amazon does something crazy and changes all the algorithms and you can't do what you normally do, or the latest launch didn't go according to plan how you hoped, what do you do? Like, what's our
you go back to your support system, whether it's a reference book or a group, or it's audit writers that you know, or it's complete strangers like in a writing group that you maybe ask for help. Like sometimes it can be really helpful having an external pair of eyes looking at something
that's cool.
recently, or hire a coach as Trudi did. Like there's different,
Yeah.
there's lots of different support services now, way more than there were 5 years ago.
Just Facebook groups that are looking to share,
Yeah.
the knowledge is being harvested organically within itself, and
Mhm.
I think that's a really good place. That's a cost-free place, it's
Mhm.
like the cost is maybe just putting yourself out there when it feels uncomfortable, because sometimes you just have to, if you want to achieve, you just have to put yourself out there a little bit.
And I think the other thing is to remind yourself that it's a journey, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And just because there's this one moment of not achieving what you need to achieve or had hoped you would achieve, doesn't mean that it's always going to be like that. Past success or failures doesn't indicate future. You can make changes, or you can
That's
keep
a
going.
very good point, Trudi. That's so true.
Yeah. Okay. So we are up to beat number 7. The joyful, well, it says a joyful defeat. I'm not sure about we want to be saying defeat, but resolution.
I prefer resolution. I'm not big on
the
that.
joyful resolution. So the ending of a rom-com where everyone's happy and they've sorted all the conflicts out, and we've gotten over the dark moment and it's all happy again. Yay!
Yeah.
So what will you do to celebrate the completion of your 2023 tasks? What are we going to do? I had party with the Spa Girls. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, we should
Exactly.
really try to do that this year.
We really
I
should.
know, we were such slackers in 2022.
We were.
Oh my god!
We
And I also had
were.
go on writing treat with Spa Girls. Also,
Yeah, I was going to say,
out there.
I had go to an international writers conference, so I had that down as well.
That's a goal for me the next year.
Yeah.
That's going to be my
Yeah.
cherry on the top for this year. For
Yeah.
this
That's
year.
on mine.
Yeah. For this year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Totally
so
agree.
that's cool. Awesome. Well, we're all
Yay.
agreed. We're going to international
Somewhere.
conferences this
We
year.
agree.
Somewhere.
Maybe
agreed.
Paris.
Cheryl.
Has
We
Paris
agreed.
got
3 to 1.
I'm sure Paris has got one we can go to, hasn't it? Paris, Milan, like, I don't know, Beirut. There's got to be somewhere like that. That's got a conference we can go to.
Is Beirut's a place? I feel like that's not
It's
Are we
skiing.
desperate
It's
to get away?
Maybe.
Oh, Favourites is in France, and
Is
it's
it?
wonderful.
Oh.
I've been there, yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
Yeah.
Clearly, my ignorance is showing. Okay, so that is
Yay.
the end
Yes.
of the episode. We have
Yes.
done 7 romantic comedy beats and 7 aspects of setting goals for 2023. So hopefully you've all gotten something out of that. And oh yes, are you?
I'd just like to just it's kind of to wrap everything up, but also just to finish off on the support thing. Don't forget that if you come to patreon.com/Spa Girls podcast, there's a level a $10 a month tier there that you can join our Facebook group, which is a private Facebook group, and it's a self-publishing mastermind. We're available there. So if you're wanting to find people that understand, I mean, we've obviously got fellow Spa Girl supporters in there as well, but it's everybody's sort of working towards the same things, you know, different levels, different stages of their careers, and we will answer anything that you want answered in there. So I just wanted to give a shout out for that. If you're looking for a community, that's a great place to start.
Yeah, awesome. Perfect.
Yeah.
And you can celebrate with us, and we will celebrate everybody's success in there with you.
We will have maybe we should have a Facebook party in the group next year at the end.
Okay. We can have
the
Trudi
year celebrate.
dancing and singing. So I'm down.
Put that down as a goal,
Needs
Needs
Trudi.
no encouragement.
Put that down as a goal.
I'm too busy dancing here,
Don't
Wendy, to
plan
write
it.
things down.
All right.
All right, so let
I'm
us
not gonna
know
write it
if
down.
this
Time with us.
resonates or otherwise, and let us know maybe in the comments what if you're looking at this on YouTube, what your favorite rom-com is.
All right.
Or which of my dances you preferred.
And you can find us at Spa Girls Podcast all over the place.
All
everywhere.
over the place.
Yeah, like just come and
Awesome.
see us.
That's us.
Spread like
All right.
Thank you all for listening to
Thanks for
another
listening.
episode
Wow.
of the Spa Girls podcast. We'll be back again next week, but for now,
Bye.
farewell. Bye.